This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast meeting to the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up? No, it's another Thursday. This is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and holy shit, I have almost survived another week. We'll see if I survive this Halloween party that I got to go to tomorrow in Pontiac. But in the meantime, this is Knockouts and 3 Counts, and I mean, we got a big fight going on this weekend over there in Abu Dhabi. So I figured I'd enlist some of the services of an old friend of mine. Ethan, motherfucking Jordan, man. How you doing, brother, man?
I'm well. How are you, homie?
Hey, man, I'm doing all right, dude. It's been a long time, brother, man.
How long has it been since I've seen it? Has it been over a year? I don't know if it's
Shit,
been.
It's been 2 years.
Has it been?
I don't think I've seen you since before pandemic.
Man.
I feel like that's a case for a lot of people right now. Everybody's losing track of these last year and a half and acting like this time at home just kind of flew by everybody.
It did actually, because I don't remember the last time I've seen my buddy Kyle, and that's a shame.
I mean, it is, man, because we've known each other for a hot minute, huh?
It's been, if it's not, it has to be somewhere around 10 years.
It's over 10 years.
It's over 10 years? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's over 10 years, dude, because I met you shortly after I started training at MASH. I mean, you've been there pretty much since they started, too.
Yeah, I started in December of 2008.
Exactly, and I was there since they opened. So I've literally known you since 2008. It's now going to be 22. That's at least 13 years.
Damn!
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Long ways. Now, I just need you to confirm one thing before we get going and tell any of these stories. So Ethan and I know each other because we train together in jiu-jitsu, MMA, all that good stuff. But I need you to confirm something. People don't believe me. I literally was just telling this story the other day at work, and somebody was like, well, what does that got to do with anything? I was like, I've had the nickname Fresh to Death since I was like fucking 13 years old. Is that not a fact? Literally everybody from our coaches to everybody. Is that not a fact?
I'm fresh to death. Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot that that's how you were known for a long time, but it was because of I think it was because of your clothes. You always had on.
Every time we'd go to the fights, it was Tommy Bags. I just saw him today at the gym, dude. It's 100% fact.
He's the one.
And then Don would always call me Crispy. Yeah, he wasn't teaching, but he was over there. He had a private.
Yeah. Kyle Fresh to Death Collison. I thought it was Damian Burton that gave you that name.
I remember it being Tommy, but it was funny because everybody was like, well, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, I mean, literally, you think I'm kidding, but like everybody down to like our coach, that was just it. Like that was
there's a
you
lot
don't know
of
this.
things you could be labeled for.
You don't know this, Kyle. I have a necklace that I can run upstairs and get that I got just because you had, if I remember correctly, it was a silver necklace.
I still got it. I just had to get the clasp fixed.
You still got the dog collar?
It wasn't a dog collar, but I got my chain with my cross on it. Yeah.
No. But I mean, that's what we used to call it. You used to call it like a big ass dog collar. And so you had yours, and you always had yours. So my wife, before we got married, for my birthday, we were out in Vegas, and I always remember you had that silver necklace, and it was almost like we knew you were in the building. So I got a chain similar to that, which I hardly ever wear. And I promise, I really came close to bringing it to you and giving it to you.
That's dope.
it was a $200 chain that my wife got me for my birthday. And here's what's significant about that. The only reason you don't have it is because she gave it to me for my birthday, and it was either that or go to the strip club. And so I wanted something tangible, and and we happened to be walking next to this jewelry place in the Desert Inns Mall, and she asked me, do you want this, or do you want something from here? Do you want to go that? And I immediately saw the chain, and I thought, if I get this, maybe I too can be fresh to death, like my friend Kyle. But
good
I
thing
don't
your
wear
eyes
the
weren't
necklace
across the
anymore.
street, because you might have noticed something else first and didn't.
Probably. I should, in retrospect, I probably should just went to the strip club. But I have that necklace, and one day I'm gonna give it to you, man, because like I said. And you don't remember the story, and none of your fans do, but I think it should be repeated. So if I may,
go ahead.
I bought a lawnmower off of Craigslist or eBay or some bullshit, and I got it home, and the lawnmower didn't work. And this is before I had a truck. And so when the guy brought it to me, he brought it to me, but when it didn't work, I was so angry that I was trying to figure out how I was going to get it back to him so I could throw it in his fucking house, his front picture window. I was that angry. And so I went down the line of all the friends that I had who had trucks. Kyle, back in the day, drove this big black Ford truck. And so I said, Kyle, man, I need you. Can you help me? I explained the situation. He said, yeah, no problem. So he comes and picks me up. He takes me over there. And like I said, I didn't even know you smoked cigars. I didn't know you smoked anything. And then on the way, you expertly calmed me down. We smoked a couple cigars. And then at the end of the day, I did not throw. I just went back, gave it back to the dude. He ended up returning my money, and I didn't go to jail. And now we can do this safely from the confines of my house instead of a prison cell. And I have you to thank for that, Kyle. You don't remember it, and I'm sad about that, but I never forgot it.
I do remember it once you jogged my memory. And here's the thing about that. All right. So he says that I calmly, calmed him down and stuff. Well, I remember this. We had just got done training, and he's like, man, this motherfucker gave me this lawnmower, and the lawnmower doesn't work, and blah, da, 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 da. Oh, and man. I'm like, dude, and he's like, I'm going to go chuck this shit through his fucking window. I'm like, well, dude, if you do that, then what are you going to do when the cop just drives by and it looks like you're trying to bust in his house? It's like, dude, come on, man. Like, this isn't a good look. Like, I totally understand what you're saying, but it isn't a good look, bro. I'm just saying, it's not a good look.
Man, I was mad, Kyle. So whenever I get a chance, I'm going to give you that necklace because I don't wear it anymore. And it's bigger than your dog collar, but I only got
That's what I'm talking about. See, my chain broke. Now you're going to give me a new chain. I just put my cross on that shit, and I'll be even more fresh to death. See, I already got Mega Ran shirt on, which shout out to Mega Ran. We saw him do his thing in Detroit last night. Check out his new album, Live 95, wherever you get your music, all that good shit. Ethan, if you are in the mood for some hip hop, check out the homie Mega Ran. And while I'm at it, shout out to Schaefer the Dark Lord, shout out to MC Lars, and shout out to MC Frontalot. They fucking killed it. The Four-Eyed Horseman tour. They're coming back here this weekend. They're out in Cleveland tonight, and they're going to be back here for UMaCon this weekend in Detroit. So if you're going to UMaCon and you're in the area, check out the homies. I, for one, have to go to a Halloween party tomorrow. I'm going to be looking like something like Darby Allin or some shit. I got to go to Cheapy Freaky or whatever the fuck this Halloween party's called over at the Crowfoot. Shout out to the homie J-Bone looking like Jam Master J. It's going to be a good time. There's going to be past guests. I might see Uncle Chase. Tomorrow might get a little weird.
So I could imagine any single bar planned hotel or Halloween themed event is probably going to get weird, especially out in Pontiac, because they know how to get weird out there. That's for sure.
Hey, dude, here's the funny story. So the funny story about all that is the last time I hung out with Uncle Chase before he hadn't even gone through the Uncle Chase transformation yet. The last time I hung out with Uncle Chase, me and Devin went down to Electricity in Pontiac, and I had a hell of a time. There's some stories that I can tell you maybe off the air, but yeah, it was a good time, and that was 3 years ago, and literally like almost everybody that was there with us that night is coming back with us tomorrow night. So I'm gonna be heading right from the post office to seeing what's going down in Pontiac. So if you are in the area, let's get weird, dude. This is gonna be interesting. But it's gonna be a fun weekend. But like I said, it's good to have you on because I remember, like I said, yours was the first podcast I ever remember doing.
All types of ill shit.
Yeah, man. You called me up and wanted me to come on there just to tell my story and shit. And then now, you fast forward, here we are fucking almost 6 years later. And, 100, 200 plus episodes of a show in. So it's,
really?
It's interesting. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, for anybody who's new here, hit that motherfucking subscribe button, whether you're listening to it on a podcast platform, YouTube,
Please.
all of them. It's on all of them. Shout out to Blue Wire Hustle. But, man, hit that subscribe button. But, yeah, I mean, dude, we've had the likes of Booker T and his brother Stevie Ray on here, to Diamond Dallas Page, to guys from UFC and Bellator and Ryzen and Bare Knuckle FC and now Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, hell. It's been a good time. So, like I said, if you guys are new here, get with the motherfucking program.
Yeah,
I'm
come
sorry
join
that
in
I
on
didn't
the action.
I didn't know who any of those people were. You said Five Finger Death Punch. I thought he was talking about a movie.
Are you kidding me?
I
You being the rock guy and you don't? Oh my God!
know. Look, wait, hold on. You see my guitars and
Dude, you haven't heard their version
Yeah.
of Bad Company? I feel like everybody's heard it. I feel like if you hear it, you'd know who it
Yeah.
is.
All right, yeah, sure. I got Apple Music. I'll check them out, man. I like hearing new music. I like you know me. I was a musician before martial arts ever took place.
Well, you know the guy who it involves. So it actually involves one of our past guests, Justin Janes, when he was in the UFC. We talked to him right before his last fight, and I went out to Vegas with the homie Megaran, get his merch over there at megaranmerch.com. Man. And like I said, I speak of J-Bone and he walks. He's a little bit off today. That's all. What up, though, bro? Jam Master J, I'm about to be out here looking like Darby Allin in this bitch. It's about to get weird. Pontiac tomorrow. Corey, where you at?
I'm at home with the kids, man. That's where I'm at. I'm not trying to get weird out in Pontiac no more.
Scared money don't make no money.
I'm with you, Jay. I'm chilling. I'm not doing anything for Halloween.
No, I haven't. I didn't plan on doing anything, but
though.
then J-Bone and Tyler and all them hit me up. So then, now I've been drafted. But now I lost my total. Go ahead.
I do remember you used to roll deep. I remember you having like what was crazy about you is you think because you have cerebral palsy, right? Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so, but with that, other than the limp, there's nothing that signifies that you have anything wrong with you. And so I would see you out and about at fights and other engagements, and you would always be crude with not just white dudes, but you had black dudes, big, scary looking people that would hang with you and loved you, man. That's another part of the fresh to death mystique that always, got past us because we thought, here's this suburban kid. Don't feel sorry for him because one, he will choke you out, and if he don't get you, he got some pretty big friends, man. So, I remember you invited. We came to your house.
Yes, I remember this. I was hoping this was going to come up. I know we're supposed to be talking about UFC 267 and shit, but this shit is too good not to pass up.
No, you're an old friend, man. So, and I want to say that was the last house party I'd been to.
I remember that, and I felt so bad because the year before we had literally had my whole fucking house was just packed, and I feel like that year not as many people came.
It was packed,
but
I
had Ethan and his wife Jess playing waterfall with us in the fucking in the dining room on the dining room table. It was a good time.
I watched y'all play because I don't drink, and I thought, what the fuck? As a matter of fact, I remember that was the first time I had ever seen what I thought was beer pong in real life. I've never played it, but I remember you guys playing it and thinking, holy shit, this is disgusting, because the ball would go everywhere and it would fall into the cups, and then you'd have to drink
the
it.
cups was just water in the cup, though.
Okay.
After
the
a
cup
while,
was just
in the
water.
beginning,
You're
it
supposed to
was
have your
not.
own drink to.
Yeah, I just remember thinking, I don't want to
those
play
were
this
beer
because you
cups,
had.
and you had to drink the whole damn thing if you finished.
Back in the day, we did used to do it that way. See? Hey,
And
shout out to Kathy in the comments. Get you a twisted tumbler. Kathy, I got some shirts coming your way once these shirts come in. Hey, if you guys are watching this, put in your order, get you a Knockouts and 3 Count shirt. See, get you one of them twisted tumblers.
The best custom cups you can get your hands on. Right?
Hell yeah, get you one of them twisted tumblers.
Shout out to Kathy Hugenhide.
Yeah, dude. Well, I met her through Bobby Nash, man. We had Bobby Nash on here. She made them for Bobby and Darren, and then she made them for us.
Nasty was on the show?
Yes, man. Nasty was on here. Darren was on here. Miles was on here. Bro, we keep it coming, bro.
You've been doing it You've been doing everything, man. Nasty was on my show before he took off. My show was his first podcast. And you know what? I grew up with him. I grew up with his older brother Randy used to be.
I remember.
I mean, I've got so many. He and I have stories that we probably shouldn't tell. That's him and I go back. We were in jail together. That's when I knew I had to make life changes, because I went to jail and had my friend was there. As a matter of fact, I went to jail because of him, for him. And when I got there, he was already there. Fucking guy. But yes.
That's the best kind
dudes.
of friends, man. The ones you're willing to go to jail for, right there.
Man, to play it, if I had to play it over again, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, dude, I mean, it's not like when you met me, my dumbass wasn't getting in trouble too, because I wasn't exactly around the best people when I was younger and gotten a little bit of.
Me?
No, I didn't say you. Did I get arrested with you?
Yeah, I got arrested.
Not quite that far, but we made.
And no, and to be fair, we're cool. I'm just saying I got in some bad situations.
Not you, Kyle.
Because I was probably in some places that I shouldn't have been. We'll just leave it at that.
Stay your ass out of them bad places, Kyle. Goddamn.
Hey, I'm out of those bad places because now you're in my place, motherfucker. And now it's time to talk about UFC 267. But, dude, I mean,
let's do it.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this card, bro? I mean, I think it's pretty much a banger card, and I'm surprised they're giving it away for free.
Oh, that's better. So I know that it's in Abu Dhabi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. At Fight Island.
There's a lot of Russians on the card. I'm thinking it's going to be, when I look at the fight card, and I don't have everyone's record. You know, I don't know who. I remember,
I've got them all. I've got the card up in front of me, so I can read them off as we go through the fights.
Right. But I don't know who Makachev or Ozdemir fought prior to fighting each other. But I think they're both on win streaks, right?
Makachev is fighting Hooker.
Makachev fighting Hooker. Okay, I'm sorry. And
matter of fact, it's funny you bring up Bobby Nash, because Lingjing Liang, that's on the card, that's fighting on the card and has fought Bobby, is fighting Kazmat Chimaev.
Okay. Yes. I think it's going to be a Russian sweep.
Oh, do you?
I do. I can't think, as much as I love Dan Hooker.
I think he's going to have a hard time staying off his back for sure.
Those Russians are fucking crafty, man, and I'm not fighting any of them overseas. So
they have a real.
How many Russians you got on that card? 5, just on the main. What's that?
I was gonna say they have a real ability of catching people's post hands and just completely swarming people on the ground, not giving them a single chance to post or do anything to get any type of form of getting up. It's just
them Russians are scary.
Beyond dominant. It's like it's insane.
You got 5 Russians on that card.
Yeah, 5 Russians. And so I think they're going to be 5-0 that night, man. As much as I love Hooker and Sandhagen, it's just
all right. Well, we're talking about these fights. Let's get into it. So off rip, you got, at least if it plays out the way as it sits right now, you got Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir.
That's tough, right?
I gotta go Ankalaev on that one, bro.
Me too.
I gotta go Ankalaev on that fight, bro.
As much as I love Volkan Ozdemir, I hate the
Ozdemir's tough. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not saying it's gonna be like an easy fight, but just something in me says that Ankalaev's gonna be in here. And any of you guys that are watching, if you're watching these fights, Kathy, I know you watch the fights. Who the hell do you think's gonna win? I want to know who you guys think's gonna win in the comments.
Okay.
If you're asking me in that one, after seeing what Magomed Ankalaev was able to do to Kutalaba twice, that was like very eye-opening in the direction of his career for me. And Volkan Ozdemir, I'm a big fan. No Time usually does do it in no time, but I feel like this one's going to be like, this is a tough fucking fight, man, against somebody that's bigger than him. Seems to be doing better, especially later into Volkan's career in the striking aspects. It's going to be a tough fight, man. It really is. Volkan doesn't have that like second dimension to his game. He just relies very heavily on his power, and I don't think that's going to be enough in this fight.
You might be right. That's the one that I'm iffy about, because I do like Volkan Ozdemir. I really do.
He was super,
and I do too. That's why I say, like, I'm not at all trying to say Ankalaev is I'm not saying Ankalaev's just going to blow him out, but I just feel like Ankalaev is on too much of a roll for him, and I feel like that's going to kind of overwhelm him. Is kind of how I see it happening.
Based on the clash of styles, I feel like this is going to be a real eye-opening fight for Ankalaev, for the fans yet again. The ones that may not have been sold on the 2 fights with Kutalaba. I feel like this one, based on the styles, is going to be like a perfect showcase for him, honestly. I feel like Volkan's just a little slower, and it's just not going to play in his favor.
It's a Russian sweep, man. It's a Russian sweep.
Well, the next fight that it's got on here, I am not confused at all in where I think this one's going to go. Like I mentioned, Lingjing Liang had a friggin' banger with our boy Bobby Nash. They beat the living dog shit out of each other. I think if Bobby would have used that Michigan State wrestling that he's got, he would have got the dub in that fight. But I mean, they just beat the living hell out of each other. Like, Lingjing Liang looked like he got in a fight with Michael Myers out of that new Halloween Kills, which, for the record, I mean, I'm a fan of horror movies and all that good stuff, but, like, I was a little bit disappointed. You know, I took old girl to go see that, and she hadn't even watched those movies like that. And the thing is, I'm not saying it was horrible, but just because of the way they built it up was what made it kind of like disappointing for me. If you guys have seen Halloween Kills and are watching this, whether it's now or in the post, let me know in the comments what you think. But like I said, man, it's I don't know. This fight, I feel like Lingjing Liang is about to kind of catch the work. I think Chimaev's going to make his way into the top 10.
I think that guy's, that's the one, other than Shevchenko, that's the one that is probably just a lot. I believe is completely one-sided. I don't think Liang has a chance.
Really? I feel like I've been hearing that a lot, not from just fans and stuff, but from MMA media alike. And to me, it's very surprising because Li Jiling.
I'm not saying he's a hoe. Like I said, he had a war with our homie.
I'm just going to call him the Leech because that's his nickname, and I'm not even going to pronounce Jingling 30 times here. But The Leech is amazing, man. He's done really good in his work in the UFC. I'm very impressed with him, and I feel like this is a great matchup, especially the fact that we haven't been able to see Kazmat in a while. He wasn't able to train because he suffered from a long-standing bout with COVID.
Right.
I feel like if there's ever a time to catch somebody with such a hype train as that, I feel like the Leech has got the power to absolutely sleep somebody like Hazmat if he lands that shot. And we've seen him do it to many people that he wasn't necessarily expected to win against. We've seen him lose a couple fights in the UFC, all of which have been bangers, grind out matches. And we have not seen that from Kazmat. If I'm not mistaken, not a single fight's gone longer than the first round. So I do think there's a very good chance that Kazmat pulls it off, but I'm actually leaning against you guys. I want to see Li J Lang pull it off, and I actually think he can. I really honestly do.
Oh, man. You going with the guy that beat the homie?
You a hoe. You a hoe. You going against Bobby Nash like that. Bobby Nash is a past guest. You going against the homie.
What did Josh Frem say last week? Or Tuesday, not last week. He said he wants to.
He don't even remember what day it is no more.
He said he wants to see the people that beat him do better because it makes his losses on.
Oh no, I know. I'm just busting balls.
So that being said,
that's a good argument. That's a good argument. I see.
That being said,
you want to lose to the champ.
Yeah, if you're gonna lose, you don't want it to be like we said in that show. You don't want it to be somebody getting lucky on you. You want it to be maybe outskills you on the night, but. Whatever the case be, you don't want some losers getting a win on your record, you know?
Right. Definitely. I agree with that. I'm just busting balls. But in this next fight, it's going to be a ball buster in Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura. I'll go first on this one. I think Alexander Volkov is going to get the dub on this one.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes,
absolutely.
I think he's gonna. If I had to guess, let's not forget that Volkov can strike, number one, and number two, he's
much better
known
striker of the two.
Right, and he's also known for when he gets tired, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, he uses his weight and clinches him up and lays it on him. I think if they get tired because of the striking exchanges, I think he'll wear Tybura out by weighing his weight on him. And like you said, the better technique wins in the end when you get tired at the end of a fight, because he'll be able to throw the cleaner shots. And I think that's going to be the thing that's going to serve him well. I don't know that he'll knock him out, but I could see Volkov, winning unanimous decision.
I want to see a lot of finishes. Those are the big guys, right?
Yep. Heavyweight.
Yeah, heavyweight. So I want to see him finish, man. That fight he was winning. He was winning in a fight against Derek Lewis until the last 10 seconds. And so he had put on, from my perspective, a solid clinic.
I agree 100%, but that's what you always got to worry about with Derek Lewis, though. And that's the thing.
Especially with somebody of Volkov's nature, who he's big, he's powerful, but he doesn't always search for the finish. He seems to outpoint a lot of people. And in the heavyweight division, that's not always the best game plan.
That's a great point.
In this fight in particular, I feel like his length may actually be a disadvantage, because Marcin Tybura, whether you're a fan or not, or whether you've put him on your radar of UFC heavyweights or not up to this point, his takedown game has been incredible, and his ground and pound, once he gets people there, has been truly fight ending. He's becoming very impressive in the UFC heavyweight division. I know he kind of started on a bit of a slide in his UFC career, but if I'm not mistaken, he's on a 4 or 5 fight win streak right now, and doing that in heavyweight is not easy. And he's just been climbing the ranks of competitors, and now on his way to contenders. So I feel like Tybura is going to take him down and ground him out. I really honestly feel that way. We've kind of seen that with Volkov in the past when he fought Curtis Blades and stuff, that he doesn't necessarily do the best job of stuffing the takedown for somebody with.
I agree, but I don't. My only thing with that is I don't see Tybura on that same level of like wrestling though, or same level of takedown though.
maybe not of like standard traditional American, freestyle wrestling, but his judo's legit. His throws are
That's
legit.
fair.
And he doesn't give up on takedowns. That's one thing that you can say about a lot of the foreign wrestlers is they shoot from angles and keep shooting once they maybe aren't successful at the first or second attempt, So
Okay. Shooters.
Who are you going with? You going with Volkov or are you going with Tybura on this one?
Volkov.
All right.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be all Russians.
Now we get to the meat of this card, man. You got Dan Hooker versus Islam Makachev. And man, am I torn in this fight because I want to see Dan Hooker win.
Yeah.
But Dan Hooker's inability to be able to keep his back off the ground against high-level wrestlers is the thing that scares me because against a guy like Makachev, if he gets him on the ground, he's going to beat the dog shit out of Hooker.
And I don't know if it's a thing of if. I think it's when. Especially
Kathy says, fuck him. She's going with Hooker anyway. Kathy says, fuck him. I'm going with the Hangman.
Right.
No, Kathy, no. What are you doing? I got you. Because Hooker's what? He's Australian, right? New Zealander?
New Zealand.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
They
he
have
won his last showing.
He did win his last showing, and he actually implemented some of his own wrestling, which looked honestly pretty good in that fight.
And Hasparat, but I was about to say, let's talk about that. Let's not forget. Shout out to Hooker in that too, though, because both of them couldn't get into the country until like 2 days before the fight because of all the COVID precautions and all that, and them being able to get out of New Zealand and Hasparat from, I forgot where he's from.
Germany.
Right, and neither one of them could get into the country like that, and they still both made weight, which, that's the most impressive. Sidebar. I want to know what your thoughts are because I feel like it will be extremely funny. What are your thoughts on Paulo Costa's punk-ass excuse to why he couldn't make 185 and then saying it was because he tore his bicep?
What was it? I didn't hear the excuse.
So he was supposed to fight at 185. Then they moved it up to 195. Then they moved it up to 205 in the same day. And then after the fight, even though he came in good shape, he came out in the press conference and said that the reason why he couldn't make the weight was because he tore his bicep. Sounds like a crock of shit to me. Because
anytime someone has an excuse to why they underperformed, it's you need to take that with salt because this is what you do, right? You show up to the office, you punch in to do what you do, and so all of that. If this is your life, so you should take that in. All that into consideration. I only watched the first couple rounds. I didn't watch the whole fight because it went to decision, right?
Yeah, and it was a good fight, but
my man Paulo Costa lost by split decision or a majority decision, maybe.
No,
unanimous decision.
Unanimous. Okay. Yeah, I saw. From what I saw, it was a good fight, and Vettori he fought Vettori, right? Yeah,
yep, he fought Vettori, and that's the thing. They fought at 205. Vettori's an 85 or 2.
Yeah, they looked big, so I didn't know about someone missing weight. And that
dude, he was supposed to fight at 85, and then the thing is, I feel like Vettori got fucked because he should have got it.
Game. He was so game, though. He was willing to roll.
No, and I agree. And I think that will help him on the back end because the UFC probably paid him some of that back end money. But what I'm saying is like, I'm sorry. As a former fighter, and so even in just jiu-jitsu, having competed and having to make weight and shit like that, you were supposed to fight at 185. You couldn't even make 195, which is 10 pounds. Then you didn't even make 205. Then you made 205, which that's 15 pounds.
Yeah.
That's 20 pounds from where you were originally contracted to make weight.
Yeah,
And if the rule is supposed to be 1 to 3, you get 20%, and then anything over 5, you're supposed to get 30. Well, how does he get a whole up to 20 pounds?
My issue isn't even so much with like the whole catch weight and everything about it. It was the unapologetic nature of Paulo Costa and all. The fact that he didn't like publicly apologize to Marvin, didn't try to do anything about it. He basically said the only contract I signed was 205, but yet you did all the training camp, did everything for this fight, but yet miraculously you're the only one that thought it was at 205. Like, come on now. It's just it was a big pile of horse shit, honestly. I hated to see that from somebody who's supposed to be a professional athlete that's at the top of their division at 185. But realistically, I feel like we'll see him move up to 205, and he'll do good there. He should have been there for a while. I feel like he's a very large body for 185, and he'll fit right in at 205. And depending on who they put him with, I could see him winning a lot of those matchups. So,
well, like Kathy said, I agree with that. So I'm going to let you guys start the next fight. I got to go grab something real quick. I'll be right back, but finish your thought. And Corey, you can start the next fight up real quick.
I didn't know that. I wasn't aware that he missed the weight. I saw the fights. I recorded them there on my DVR. I just got to, I got a sick dog, so it's all my schedule is just running a little haywire. But I'm sad. I thought Paulo Costa, when he beat my dude Uriah Hall, and then he turned around and he beat my other dude, my God, Yoel Romero. So when he fought those two guys, I thought, man, sky's the limit for this guy. He's gonna be big, physique. As a matter of fact, he's one of the examples I look to when I think, why aren't there more women besides Kathy that like MMA? Because these dudes are in great shape. I think Paulo's no homo, but I think that's a beautiful dude. And to see him
himself well.
Yeah. Wears great shirts, great, good-looking dude. And so I'm sad to see him go so awry. But I mean, we talking about the fight game. People. It
seems
weight.
Like at this point he's almost kind of leaning into the heel role with, like I said, being the unapologetic nature of it. The fact of like, I'm not gonna compete in the fight that I showed up 20 pounds overweight for if you guys try to take more than 20% of my purse. Like, normally if you're over 5 pounds, it's 30% of your purse anyway, G. And you're coming in 20 pounds over and your opponent's willing to accept the bout still. And you're over here talking about, I'm not going to do it if you guys don't. It was not great in my opinion. And it's just, like I said, it's him leaning into the bad guy role in my opinion.
Tell me this. I thought the tax for missing weight was 30%. But you're saying
20 for under 5 and over 5 is 30%. And some commissions are 30 flat out, but most of them, like Vegas and stuff like that's 20 and then 30.
So let me ask you this. Are you familiar with Israel Adesanya's proposal that if they make weight, or at least I think he stipulates for championship fights, if you miss weight, that's 80% of your purse? How do you feel about that?
I definitely don't agree, because the whole stipulation of having this fight is it's supposed to be contended for a belt, and now you can no longer have one of the, hopefully in that circumstance it's the contender and not the champion, because then if the contender beats the would-be champion on a non-cap title bout, it just really throws haywire. But I kind of agree with it, honestly, because like I say, that's what the whole bout's scheduled for, is to contend for this belt that you have a strict, you don't even get the 1 pound allowance. So that's how strict it is. So it kind of should be that strict in payment as well, I feel like.
Yeah, I think I agree. I thought at first I thought 80% is
it seems a little high. Maybe
that's
not
a lot of
80%, maybe 50%. But even at that, like realistically, the fighter should still be compensated in some degree. But I more so worry about like their training camp and their coaches and stuff like that in that aspect. Like those guys still need to be paid, even though the fighter may have not done everything he needed to. And
well, yeah. It's coming off the top, though, right? The 20, the 30, the 80, it's all coming off the top. So
I believe so. The
coaching staff are going to get theirs. The management, the agent, everyone's going to get paid. But I think Kathy's right. I think it's really unprofessional.
Yep.
To miss weight, especially at the highest promotion, right?
Within top 5, standings, rankings in your division and stuff like that. Fight that could be arguably for who fights next for the belt under certain circumstances or something like that.
Shame.
You kind of need to show up on weight. And I've been a huge fan of the Contender Series this year, and you've seen quite a few athletes with everything that goes into that still miss weight. And I get a lot of those fights. People are taking them on 2-3 weeks notice and stuff, so it's a little bit different circumstances. But you signed up for it, you knew what you were getting yourself into, and I feel like that is one of the major parts of not just making the walk, not just competing, showing up as you say you are going to, I guess.
Right. Now, do you compete? Do you get in the ring? Do you got a cup?
I do not, but I do have weight cutting experience because I, being a taller gentleman myself, played many years of youth football all the way up into the high school levels and stuff. And at the young age from basically 8 till 13, I was considered too big unless I weight cutted to play football in Pee Wee football. So every week I would have to study my diet if I wanted to make anything out of the football season. And I was somebody that played both sides of the ball, first and second string. So it was kind of vital. I was a team captain. I enjoyed playing football, but that was the worst part about it, was making weight. Because as a young kid, I had to legitimately have like a regimented diet. I had to worry about waking up and making sure I take a shit this morning, because if I don't, then I'm going to be over. And
4 pounds.
Yeah. It was, so I get where like I may be critical to people that are competing, especially at an adult level. Like our bodies have all changed, of course. And if you're talking about a 30-year-old man trying to make weight compared to
it's 10 o'clock.
A 12-year-old is going to be a big difference. But that being said, I do stand on some ground because I did it week in and week out, like basically like a wrestler would, essentially.
Right on. You're done with that. You don't compete no more.
I have, in the last year and a half since I have been actively doing the show with Kyle, I have been seriously contemplating joining some type of MMA gym with him. My issue is I am a sole income of a household of 4. So
he's scared.
No,
you got mouths to feed. You got 2 kids. You got a wife.
I'm just talking shit.
Yeah,
I'm just talking shit.
Are the
I'll
kids
be actually 29 tomorrow.
No, I'm saying the kids. Are the kids young? Happy birthday.
Yeah, 6. Well, one just turned 7. The other one's 5. So fairly young still. In school though.
She'll get out there and get back on the workforce, right?
Yeah. This is the first year of school, so not to go boring off the guest, but yes, this is the first year of school, and she's already kind of planning on it. It's just finding. I've been able to do it for this long. I tell her if she's gonna get something that actually interests her. Don't just work for the sake of working. Do something.
What
that
a
actually,
nice guy! What a good husband.
So.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Dr. Phil.
Get your ass out there. Get your ass out there and bring back a fucking check.
With all of that being said, now that we have Kyle joining back to the show, I do want to give my point before we jump off of Islam and Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker looked great in his last fight. He was able to implement some of his offensive wrestling. I think that if we can see some of that defensive wrestling, some of the avoidance, of course, of the takedowns, he's been really good with wizards and stuff in the past. I don't think.
You mean like Harry Potter?
No, wizards as in scrambling on top of people. But that being said, it's going to be a fucking rough
wizard,
night, man.
Okay.
Islam is legit next level, and I feel like we're going to continue to see the rise of him. I hope Dan Hooker puts a stop to that hype train, but it's going to be a tough one, man. That being said, I got $20 on Dan Hooker. Who's taking the bet?
Ooh.
Fuck yeah, I'll take that shit. I want it right here, right now. $20, motherfucker.
Yeah, I would bet. I hate gambling, but I'm a
right now.
I'm not
$20 on.
myself. If I was to put money on it, I'm gonna do it on one of the.
No. You just said $20. Who wants it? Put your nuts in your hand. Put your nuts in your hand. You did it live on the air. Kathy's watching. Kathy heard it. You said $20. $20.
All right, Kyle, me and you, $20. What?
You heard it here. You heard it here. And maybe when James Lynch comes on with us next week to preview the MSG card, I'll be $20 richer. And Blue Wire, I know you guys are our podcast hosts. Well, you'll have your money early this month because Corey's going to be paying it for you. Damn. All right, but we got 2 more fights to talk about in this one. All right. Let's see. We got 2 more fights to talk about in this one. We got Corey Sandhagen versus Petr Yan. Look, man, I'm just going to say this before we get into this fight. I'm all for making light of a bad situation, but him making fun of the fact that acting like they trained to knee Aljo in the head like that on the ground.
That was so shisty. That was
hoish,
shit.
Bro. That was straight hoish. Because you're still acting like you did it on purpose.
Wait, the strike?
So there was a video that came out earlier this week of showing him hitting pads, and it's got his coach down on his...
It wasn't just him hitting pads. It was the official UFC open workout. And they had his coach, after 5 or 10 minutes of throwing and hitting pads, they had his coach get down on one knee and put his pad up as Petr threw the hardest knee he could into it. That was the shiestiest.
Just like what happened in the fight.
Yeah, that was the shiestiest shit. And for whoever's in the crowd that fucking clapped Peter for fucking doing that is shiesty too. I can't trust people that do that shit.
I want to say his coaches. I watched that fight in real time, and I thought I remember hearing that his coaches.
They did. They told him to throw it.
Kick him while he was down. Yeah. So
hey, I was getting tattooed by the beautiful Miss Lindsay Snow, which hey, you can get that in a t-shirt. It's coming out. Anyways, I would won $150 on a parlay while I was in Florida for that because Aljo still won technically by disqualification, and I won my parlay. Like they did. They straight up said throw the knee, and he looked at him, and they told him to throw the knee, and he kneed him in the head. So to be playing like you're still doing like, dude, that's just like it's one thing to make light of something, but to me, that's just a hoish move.
Yeah. But that said, all right. I got to choose my words lightly because I like Aljo, and I know that I wouldn't want to win the belt under those conditions.
I wouldn't either, but
Sandhagen called it. He said, I want to say, him and Yan both said that Aljo was going to call off the fight, and they were both right. And so I'm glad that Sandhagen gets the opportunity. I just don't know if he's on the same level. Oh my God, that Petr Yan, man! What a dog! That fight against T-City.
Yes, sir, dude.
That was the truth, man. That was a great fight. That was a great fight, and I really, if I had money, I'd have bet on Triple TC. Why am I blanking on his name? What's his name?
Brian Ortega.
Brian Ortega. I would have bet on Ortega because he's a bigger grappler. But goddamn, that fucking.
So who are you picking in this one? Do you think Sandhagen's going to get it done?
No, I'm going with Jan.
Okay, what about you, Corey?
Man, it's all Russians.
As a fellow Corey, I say this every time Corey Sandhagen competes. You will never hear me picking against this man, even when he fights some of my favorite fighters. Real quick point.
Kathy, who are you picking?
In Aljo's defense, I completely agree with your point. I wouldn't want to be the champ that way either. But coming off of neck surgery, the fact that the UFC scheduled him for about 5 months out was unrealistic. The fact that they thought he was actually going to be able to compete 5 months after a major neck surgery, unrealistic.
Yeah, you're right.
But that being said, glad we have the fight in front of us. I thought Corey Sandhagen beat TJ Dillashaw pretty handily, even though I apparently am.
She says she's with Ethan. She's taking Petrian.
Wow. That's surprising, Kathy, because I've seen you roll with a lot of the United States people. But that being said, I feel like Corey Sandhagen has a lot for Petrian. He has not only the length, he has the distance. He knows how to use it. He's very well at circling out. He's great at attacking from angles. And a lot of people are blinded by Petrian's last couple fights. I feel like he fought a aging Aldo who wasn't on the current streak that he's on to get to the belt. He fought before that Jimmy Rivera, who I actually thought Jimmy Rivera won that fight. Petrian was just able to land a couple shots and get late arguable slip knockdowns to win rounds.
Yeah, that was a good fight. I forgot about that.
So with that, I feel like he's done a great job of showcasing his skills when he's out there. He really has. In that Aljamain Sterling fight, he looked great. He really did. But I feel like that was more a showcase of Aljo being very off that night. He went in so hot in the first round that he wasn't able to showcase any of his skills come the third because he was exhausted.
Yeah, he's getting his ass whipped.
But he won me that bread, though.
With all that being said, though,
we're one of the better.
Sandhagen is a master of judging distance, and that knee that he's landed on quite a few people. If you even look back at the TJ Dillashaw fight, he almost put TJ out with that same knee.
Yeah,
it's the knees, the very strong combos that he throws, the powerful leg kicks over a 5-round fight. I don't know if Petrian's going to be able to take that type of damage. I don't.
Yeah.
I agree with that, dude, because I'm going to go with Sandhagen. But here's something that I've been thinking about all day that, makes this fight so interesting. So hypothetically, right, if Corey Sandhagen comes in here and beats Petrian like I'm thinking he's gonna, that could mean that Aljo and Petrian might not ever fight again. Because think about it. If Sandhagen wins, then that means Sandhagen's got to fight Aljo next, and Aljo might dodge that whole bullet.
Yeah. Well, we know.
And again, now don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm not saying Aljo doesn't want to fight him, but I mean, that's got to be, look, man, I like Aljo, and I think it's bullshit what happened, and I think he should have won that fight. But that being said, Petrian, like you said, was fucking giving that workout.
Yeah, he was running out.
Aljo had nothing for him come
nothing.
The 3-minute mark in the second round, he was just gassed. It was just
gone.
Yeah, it was
just taking him down at will. And I as much as I like Aljo too, but I gotta think that performance at the end was maybe not Oscar worthy, but it was up there with him. It's in between him and who's my guy? The Heathen. Who's the Heathen? Jeremy Stevens. Remember when he got that eye poke?
That was a bad one against Yair.
Yeah. Between Aljo and Jeremy Stevens, who got the best? I can't.
You really think it was faking? Dang.
A touch. a touch.
Hey,
Aljo
bro,
should
I
have won.
mean, Corey can tell you about people losing eyeballs. Motherfucker throws a golf ball and almost made me lose my eye because he detached my retina. So let me tell you, if you get hit in the eye like that,
I thought you were talking about Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Goldilocks son of a bitch in the box above you.
At least if
Yeah,
you're
I'm talking
tell
about
the
him.
story, he's got the Goldilocks. He's got that box. He's got that Kid Rock thing going. Kid Rock.
Bob Ritchie.
I've been getting that fucking cowboy comparison now for the last couple months. Fucking.
My name is Corey.
Pretty much, that's gonna be his new intro. I'm gonna like make something so that when I like introduce him, right, dude? Because yeah, that motherfucker almost made me lose my my vision, and my shit was Oscar worthy, but it was real. My shit was real, damn it. But yeah, Sandhagen, I think, has what it takes to beat Jan. In order for him to beat Jan, though, I feel like he has to stay moving. I feel like he's got to be landing shots the whole time. He can't let Jan get kind of into his rhythm. If he lets Jan get into his rhythm, I think that that's going to be a big problem. But I also think we're going to enter the motherfucking Sandman. But again, that could be best case scenario for Aljo. But if I were Aljo, I'd want to fight him again. And from everything he says, he wants to fight him again. So
nah.
Let's
Aljo
see
don't
what
want
happens.
no more Jan. Aljo no more Jan.
I feel like because I watch his podcast not regularly, but once a month roughly. He does it once weekly, and I'll see it when I get around to it type deal. His competitive spirit, I don't think will let him not fight him if he's given the opportunity. He really does seem like that he wants that.
But that's why, again, that goes back to what I say all the time, why we need to stop doing all these fucking interim titles, dude. I would rather just see him let him sit.
In this circumstances, it is slightly justified because the fight was.
But Sandhagen just had a title shot, even though I like Sandhagen.
No,
the title shot again.
Yeah, he didn't have a title shot.
He just had an interim title fight, didn't he?
No, that wasn't an interim title fight.
I thought one of those was interim title fight. Okay, I'm mistaken. But like I said, man, I hope Sandhagen gets it just because I like Sandhagen, dude. I'm a big fan of him. We were just talking with fellow Colorado fighter Josh Fremd, who just got him a big dub at LFA 116 on UFC Fight Pass this past Tuesday out of Factory X over there in Colorado. Make sure you guys go give that a check out, like, subscribe, all that good shit. And hey, if you guys are into music, check out our chat with Chris Kale. But all right, we talked about most of these fights. It's main event time in this motherfucker because I know that E isn't the biggest wrestling connoisseur. We got some wrestling things we got to talk about as well, but I got to get your thoughts on the main event before I let you get out of here. This fight is kind of tugging at my heartstrings because I've been watching Glover Teixeira since he was on the damn Tap Out show.
I knew it.
I like Glover Teixeira, bro, but Jan is a bad Jan's a bad dude. All right, I've went first on the last couple of them. Ethan, since you're our guest, who are you picking? Glover Teixeira or
Blachowicz?
Yeah, Blachowicz, yep.
Blachowicz, there's no as much. I love Glover. I love him, man. It's hard. But I just don't see. So you hear all the talking heads talk about it's who shows up, what example of which fighter shows up. So I know Glover is tough. He can take a punch. He's hard to put away. He's a great boxer. I think he's good at jits too. But that big fucking man, it's Russian night, man. I'm telling you, it's Russian night. They're going. It's five. Everybody, all of them.
Well, this instance would be Polish power, but
that's right. He is Polish, and Jan is Australian.
No, Jan's Polish, Glover's Brazilian.
No. I'm thinking of Pewteron. Pewteron.
Yeah.
There you. Yeah, you're thinking
Russian.
Petryan is Russian. J Bone
Petryan
says
is-
Big Jan with the TKO.
That's kind of the direction I'm leaning to, J-Bone, honestly. Is so quick little story here. Jan has looked arguably unbeatable since he went in there against Corey Anderson. Ever since he slept Corey Anderson, that fight, he looked unstoppable. The following fight against Dominic Reyes, he looked unstoppable. And now I feel like he's just on the train tracks and it's rolling. And I feel like as much as you guys have both noted there, I'm a huge fan of Glover as well. I've really liked what Jan's been able to do with his.
If Jan lets Glover hit him, he's in trouble.
He's in trouble. He absolutely is. Anybody that gets hit at like,
Glover can win this fight any way it goes.
Yeah, Glover definitely has a ton of ways that he can finish the fight. And he's a dog, and he's almost impossible to get out of there. But I don't feel like that's the same thing as what I've been seeing with Jan, who's almost impossible to beat. He's looked amazing, man. Those body kicks that he was landing on Dominic Reyes, he had his whole from his armpit to his hip bone purple. And anybody that can,
he just fell down on a gravel. What do you mean?
Yeah, it looked like he was out on the motorcycle like I was earlier and took a gnarly fall or something. Because I mean, he looked chewed up.
Yeah, you fell.
No,
I thought you said. I thought you said you put the bike down. I mean, shit.
No,
I was gonna say karma has gotten this son of a bitch.
You ride motorcycles?
God, no, that bike ain't ever going down, baby.
What kind of bike you got?
Some wood.
What kind of bike you ride?
Harley Sportster 1200.
Oh, okay. You got a V-twin.
But all that being said, Jan's looked fucking amazing, and he's looked so hard to beat. And I feel like Glover brings the chance to beat him. I just don't feel like that chance is going to present itself on the night. I really don't.
And don't forget, Glover is what, in his 70s?
Damn, man.
He's up there. I don't know. He's
38.
Today
is his 42nd birthday.
Yeah, he's 42.
Jan's not a spring chicken, no. Let's not get it twisted.
But
Jan's 38.
38, but he seems like he's reaching the peak of his all-around game.
Yeah,
at
I
least
think
in
he's
the
in
last year and a half. So,
So you're going
really
Jan?
great. Glover's looked really great, but don't forget what Anthony Smith was able to do to him before he got beat. I mean, granted, that finish by Glover was absolutely impeccable. The way he was able to take him down and ground him out was amazing. But Anthony Smith was clearly winning the first round and a half of that fight.
Right. I forgot about
clearly.
that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And I don't feel like Anthony Smith, especially at that given point, was title contender worthy. As much as I'm a fan of Anthony Smith, he's one of my favorite fighters. At that given point, I don't feel like his ego was at the point where he was ready to contend for a title again, and he almost took Glover out. So
that's what's up. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'm still going with
All right.
But yeah.
So
I hate to bet against
2 for Jan, huh?
2 for Jan.
All right, 2 for Jan. Well, I'm gonna make it a trifecta for Jan, but that being said, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Glover. Like I said, Glover can knock him out. Glover can knock him out. Glover can submit him. Like, let's not get it twisted. Kathy coming in. Another one for Jan. It looks like everybody. It's like a Polish takeover at this point, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like everybody's going for Jan. But speaking of that, before we get off of this fight, it's something to be noted. Like, Jan is really in a shit situation, right? This fight is really dangerous for Jan because if Jan loses, it's going to look bad to him losing to Glover. If he wins in like a drug out decision, that's not going to be the best look for him. And then after that fight, if it does go that way, then who the hell does he fight next? Because 205 is not exactly the most stacked division. Jan is kind of stuck in a thing of circumstance via just who's in the 205 division right now. Where when you look at like a John Jones or a DC when they were the champ at 205, you had a whole roster of motherfuckers for them to beat.
Yeah, but they
Jan
they have a clear next contender in Yuri Prohaska. He's already the backup.
Sure,
fighter in
one
case
guy,
something
but
happens.
who's the list of the next 5?
I feel like if Dominic Reyes gets another win, he'll be back. in the
But that's my
contention.
point exactly,
I
though.
feel like
It's not a division where there's multiple guys who are on these big streaks and shit, where I'm not saying you're going to have that in every division. But what I'm saying is it hurts Jan's title reign because the only title defense he's had so far is against a puffed up 185 guy.
yeah.
Is it not the truth?
That's a valid point. It is a valid
And
point.
hey, full disclosure, Jimmy Smith, if you see this, I totally stole that point from you because I was listening to you earlier and I couldn't agree more. But I've been saying that this whole time with Jan, although Jan helped win me some money on that parlay with Aljo. But, dude, like I'm saying, it's just a shit. That's why I'm saying it's a shitty situation for Jan, because Jan almost has to win impressively for this fight to do anything for him. And then if he loses, obviously he loses the belt.
Yeah. I feel like that is true. Everything that you stated is true, but I feel like a lot of the MMA hardcores,
J-Bone, maybe Vittori gets that favor. He can make 205, but I think he needs another win before that. Man, he's got to stay at 185, though, bro. I mean, I think he might get that favor, but if anything, it might move him up at 185 because I don't think Vittori wants any business fighting that high.
No, Jan's so much bigger than Marvin Vittori is, and Marvin Vittori is a big 185er. He truly is.
Big dude.
But if you even looked at the difference between him and Costa on the night, and Costa,
there was a 20-pound weight distance. What?
Yeah,
it's a 20-pound weight difference. I think they said Vittori
Marvin
came in at around.
Marvin did weigh in at 204, so he's a big boy himself. Don't get
Right,
that
but
mistaken.
Costa was at 225 by the time they fought.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey,
So-
Kyle,
I mean, that's-
did I hear you say that you had? Did you say you had Jimmy Smith on the show?
No. So Jimmy Smith, I listen to his show every day, and he actually follows me on Twitter. I said, Jimmy, if you see this, because here's the thing: did you know that Jimmy Smith is your lead voice on Monday Night fucking Raw now too?
Really? The wrestling?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying this as a guy who actually watches wrestling. J-Bone, is Jimmy Smith not killing it on Monday Night Raw? I have enjoyed Jimmy Smith because he brings that combat element into it, and the fact that he knows his grappling stuff has done very well on Raw, in my opinion. And it's definitely a very much upgrade from the guy from ESPN they had, Adnan Virk. Oh, wow. And he had no idea what the fuck was going on Monday Night Raw. No disrespect to the guy. I wish I could be in your chair right now, but as far as pro wrestling, sir, you were in over your head.
I'm surprised if we're making a slight transition into the wrestling world. I'm surprised that they don't take.
See,
more
there
notes.
you go.
Yeah, he is legit, but I'm surprised they don't take more notes from the UFC, who has done an amazing job of bringing past athletes on as commentators. I'm surprised the WWE doesn't take.
Oh, they've done so many guys, dude. So many guys. So many guys.
I mean,
and
they tried
a
it
lot
a little bit with Samoa Joe, right? Like he was on the desk for a while.
But I can name a lot to you that didn't work. Like
Okay.
they tried it with McFoley. McFoley, they didn't like it because here's the thing. Here's what you got to realize is the difference with WWE commentary versus like the UFC, right? Again, I've never done it, so I don't have like full knowing, but it's kind of like a known fact in wrestling. At the end of the day, when you're doing wrestling commentary for WWE, you've got Vince McMahon in your ear.
Yeah.
Like pumping you shit and stuff. Now, Jimmy, I think they want him to kind of, go off the cuff like he does in MMA, which is why I think they brought him in. But ultimately, he knows which way they want him to go. Like, don't get it twisted. At the end of the day, when we're talking about WWE, it's got to go through Vince McMahon at the end of the day before it gets out there.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know anything about wrestling. I've never watched Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, man, I figured I knew you'd know who Jimmy Smith is, but yeah, like I said, Jimmy, if you're ever down to come talk some MMA and pro wrestling, we're always welcome to have you, and I'd love to ask your thoughts on how much is he in your ear? Like I said, I'm going off of hearsay. Like I said, totally could be wrong, but I mean, from what I've heard from multiple different people who have been in that chair. But again, like you said, Corey, I think it's the same reason why more wrestling people, when they're in the creative room, I think that's why it ends up working better. But Ethan, man, I appreciate you coming to come mess with us, brother. Don't let it be the last time. If you guys liked what you guys saw tonight, we're definitely going to be having to do another breakdown for the UFC card that's going to be on MSG. And I've got James Lynch, one of your top flight MMA reporters out there doing all your interviews, is going to be joining us to do a detailed breakdown for that. Ethan, we got stories for days, brother.
Days. I'm sorry we didn't get to them. Maybe I'll start my show again and I'll have you on. And you and Corey can come over and talk about some all types of ill shit if I ever do that podcast.
Bring back all types of ill shit, bro. I'm always down with the ill shit. Kathy, we got more to go, but it's on the wrestling end, so I don't know if you're sticking around. But J-Bone, I know you got plenty to say. Ethan, I appreciate you, brother, man. Like I said, this can't be the last time we do this. And when the hell are we linking up for, like, food or some kind of shit?
Hey,
come over for the MSG card, bro.
Maybe. I'm kind of homebody now because I got, like I said, a sick dog. I'm old. I don't get out as much as I used to. But honestly,
well, this is giving you 2 weeks to even prepare for it. See,
okay.
you know it's coming.
I do, and I owe you. You're always on a short list of friends. You can find your name on that list. Like, honestly, for what you did for me that day, I'll never forget. And,
hey, man, you were pumping me up pretty good when, look, like I said, you were a guy that was always telling me, like, reminding me, like, see, because of me having my health stuff, I always kind of, like, discounted my own ability on the mat and things like that. You were always quick to remind me that even though I may not have been able to submit you every round we rolled, dude, I was never somebody that you were able to just run through.
Nah,
so,
never got. I think you got me a couple times that guillotine. As a matter of fact,
I got you. I've gotten a lot of people with that guillotine.
Yeah, I don't get caught in a lot of guillotines, and I think after one or two of them, I thought, okay, I can't be in these positions no more.
Well, I learned how to transition. I would go from guillotine to anaconda choke to then I would go to I'd go to arm triangle.
Yeah,
I would just switch.
There's a darts in there.
Yeah, dude. Like if you get good to be able to chain them together, man, you just be banging them together. So
yeah, I hope you still got a gi. Does it still fit? When's the last time you had it on?
I mean, I didn't have the gi on today. We did no gi. We did leg locks with Kramer. I was playing that 50-50 stuff. See, back in the day, we didn't do all this leg lock shit. I got to get used to doing all this leg lock stuff. I was rolling with Z this morning. Shout out to Z this morning.
Oh, Willie Z.
Yes, man. I was in there with him and Kramer and Kevin Hebert. Shout out to him getting ready to go fight again at IBJJF Worlds, fucking being a world champion and shit at like 60 years old and shit.
Yeah, this will be his fifth title. His fifth
I
title.
know, right? This guy's like a 5-time world champion at 60 years old, a black belt in judo. Like, I want to do like half of what this guy does at 60, and I would be like, great.
Yeah. Make sure you stick around for that, man.
Hey, man, I got to be able to get my ass back in the gym still. But, hey, man, I appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna hit you up once I get off the line in here, bro. So,
okay.
Like I said, if you bring that back out, you let me know. We'll promote it on Knockouts and 3 Counts, and we'll definitely get down on all types of ill shit, bro.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you, Corey. I hope to see you guys again real soon. Good night, Kathy. Good night, J-Bone.
Nice to meet you as well, and greatly appreciate the time, brother.
Later.
All right. All right, man. I like I said, I knew Ethan would have plenty of stories. Apparently, Kathy liked the stories that you saw. If you guys like the stories that you heard of Ethan, I'll have to bring Ethan back real soon. But, you know, MMA and combat sports isn't the only thing that we cover on this motherfucker. So there's a little bit other stuff that we got to talk about because, man, there was some shit. There was some shit that went down, bro. Like, first of all, before I get into any wrestling headlines, forget all the bullshit. First of all, shout out to all of our friends from Ring of Honor. Shout out to everybody from Ring of Honor. The message came out yesterday that they're going to be running the rest of their shows through Final Battle, and then they're taking a 3-month hiatus. And effective today, all talent was released and was available to start, taking bookings, outside of there. So, shout out to past guests of the show like Mike Bennett. Make sure you go check that one out. Shane Taylor, Moses and Khan, PCO, who had already left Ring of Honor. Like I said, man, it's a real it's a big bummer. It's huge, dude, because Ring of Honor has
the fact that they straight up release people out of contracts is huge. I mean, you're talking about they literally spent all this time and money and marketing and everything they could to build up their whole roster of talent and everything that they had going for them. I imagine they're going to lose a little bit of their hardcore following and stuff. I mean, I'm sure some people are going to come back, so it's going to spike the numbers nonetheless, but it's definitely an interesting move for a whole company to just decide that we're not necessarily happy with the direction we're going. We're just going to up and put a halt to what we're doing.
Well, I mean, like I said, we've talked about it for a while. There wasn't as much, let's call it what it is. I love Ring of Honor. Clearly, as you can see, I've been more than happy to bring any and all Ring of Honor talent that's wanted to come on the show on here at any time. And maybe I can see, what's going on with Shane Taylor and some of the boys and kind of get some of their, thoughts on the whole situation. But I mean, dude, it's never a good thing when you see a company just go down like that, because forget even looking at where we're at right now, like the impact that Ring of Honor has had on the pro wrestling business as a whole. Like, let's look at all the guys that came out of there. Without Ring of Honor, there would be no CM Punk. Without Ring of Honor, there would be no Seth Rollins. Without Ring of Honor, there'd be no Kevin Owens. Without Ring of Honor, the Young Bucks wouldn't be as big as they are. Without Ring of Honor, you wouldn't see Adam Cole as big as he is. Without Ring of Honor, Keith Lee, that was one of his first big spots.
Yeah.
Like, I can literally keep going down to... And I'm missing one of the biggest ones. What about Bryan Danielson? Where everybody was talking about, oh my God, what if we see him go back to Ring of Honor? I mean, without Colt Cabana, literally, you keep going down the list. Without Ring of Honor, there's so many big name talents who are now household names, whether it's because they went to WWE or AEW or whatever one you want to name. And now we don't know what the status of that company is. Go ahead, Corey.
I mean, like you said, there's just a large roster of stars that were built in. I like to make the analogy all the time with LFA and CFFC and stuff that these are like the AAAs of like regional.
But Ring of Honor was another major company.
That's what I was gonna say. Is they were like the AAAs for wrestling as well. Like they, like you said, had built many stars and had put out a solid program. Like I had heard, so like J Bone saying right there, they did so well through the pandemic. His words exactly, literally took it out of my
We heard Chase say that. I've said that.
I've heard it from probably 10 people that we've had guests on the show. So for them to hear, they had to have heard some of that, right? Like that they were happy with the direction. So why they decided to do a full-fledged flip, I don't know if it's a money struggle thing. I don't know if they lost their TV contract. I don't know what the case is with that and why they decided to just up and halt. Because I feel like that's a very interesting move. Even if you wanted to.
Well, and they're not going to an immediate halt either. That's the thing, though. You got to read what they're saying. So they're going to keep going until the Final Battle pay-per-view, which is their pay-per-view in December. So they're going to keep doing TV up until then, and then they're going to take a hiatus, and they're going to return in April of 2022, but here's the thing, and to J Bone's point, this is something I wanted to bring up and something I wanted to talk about. I also think that this makes this also opens the door for a company like MLW, who we've already seen has started to sign guys like a Davey Richards. Enzo just said he's going to come back there. They got the deal on Vice, so they're coming on, the same channel that the Dark Side of the Ring thing is coming on, and they're still doing their thing on YouTube. They just announced they're going to have Matt Cross versus Enzo. I think some of these smaller companies, but that are ran by like a guy like Court Bauer, who's been in Ring of Honor, he's been in WWE, he's been in all these places. I think companies like them are going to be a spot that a lot of these guys want to go, because you're going to have somebody who knows what they're doing, and it might not be the biggest platform, but it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I think that it's going to be a hot one for people to go to. That also is going to open the door for places like a New Japan Strong, which we've seen been running out of LA, and past guests of the show like Tom Lawler and Jeff Cobb is on there, and you can literally list names after names that are on New Japan Strong. I'm hoping, at least what my hope is for that, is that many of these guys and girls will end up in places like that. One thing that I personally hope we see out of this is that the women's division for Ring of Honor, which had a lot of good people in it, if I were AEW, if there was anything I was looking at out of that company, they would be the women's division.
Yeah. I mean, that absolutely makes sense, because that's the one thing that I hear they are light upon is their women's division. So yeah, it would absolutely make sense if we seen a ton of signings come from Ring of Honor.
I just think that would be, like I said, to me, if I were like, and everybody, the immediate thing, it seems like now, because of the way the pandemic it's gone, as soon as there's like a big release or something, like it's like, oh shit, they're going to AEW. If I were AEW, if there was one thing that I can pinpoint, I would say that the Ring of Honor women's division would be the thing that I would look at. Speaking of the women's division, we also had NXT Halloween Havoc that went down on Tuesday, and we had a fucking banger of a ladder match. Now, there were a few things in it that were a little bit clunky, but oh my God, you've mentioned Io Shirai being somebody that you've watched multiple times on here. Dude, she took a bump off the top of the ladder. They had a ladder in between the ring and the announce table, and the ladder is up there, and they push her off the ladder. She landed ribs first and just crunched and rolled across it. Like, not back first, knees first, nothing. Just straight open like this, ribs to the ladder. Dog.
Yeah.
Ugh. I just,
and
oh my God.
Somebody too, she really brings that full send Japanese style over here. She really commits to when she goes. So I could just imagine.
What I tell you, that fall was nasty. Like I said, it's bro, that was a nasty bump. But we saw Toxic Attraction, which would be a theme for this night. Toxic Attraction, JC Jane, and formerly Priscilla Kelly, but what are they going? Gigi Dolan, that's what they're calling her now. She is actually also, for any of you that, and I mean, we saw her for a brief minute in AEW. She used to be with Darby Allin and stuff, but now she's over here as part of the group with Mandy Rose, and they got the tag titles there. Like I said, that was a precursor that night. But all in all, I thought that was a pretty dope ass match.
One thing, but real quick before we jump off of NXT, one thing I've noticed is we haven't had as many conversations since they did this whole giant rebranding of NXT. What's your thoughts on the new direction of that NXT has taken?
So, you can definitely feel a more developmental feel. I will say they've done a much better job, I feel like, than I originally expected. with what they did, because again, even though there has been a change in like the overall look and some of the feel to NXT, they also have done a good job of building stars. Because like with what I was talking about with that ladder match, they used this Halloween Havoc to really like pump home to you who some of these stars are going to be. My concern now is, now that you're doing NXT as more of a developmental product, does that mean when people lose the title that they're going to go to the main roster, which we'll talk about as I get a little bit further down this card, because Carmelo Hayes showed up and had to go get his title back from Johnny Gargano, which that was kind of cool. They had like with it being Halloween Havoc, there was like I'm trying to think of what the
to pose a question to you, Kyle, because they're both under the same umbrella of organization, which is WWE. You know, would you be mad if you seen them do kind of like what you see in smaller MMA regional promotions and stuff, where the champ doesn't lose their belt, they just get signed up to the new roster, which creates a whole new title bout for two new contenders, compared to kind of diminishing.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all, but I'd have no problem with that. But the problem is WWE doesn't really look at, they won't really like quantify NXT as a third brand, which makes no sense because they have a lot of talent. But that goes back to what we talked about before. Like, I would love for them to do that, but you notice a lot of guys when they get to the main roster, they don't even acknowledge them as the NXT champion.
Yeah, which is crazy, because that's an accomplishment. You know, you made some type of splash in the wrestling world to make it up to that point.
Right.
So
and
the fact that you built them up that much to get to that point and then don't even represent that in their future is surprising.
Well, and even furthermore, even to like further to go with that, like on Busted Open the other day, they had Indy Hartwell on, and she is one of the younger ones in NXT. I believe she might be the youngest one in NXT, but she grew up on NXT. Like I said, for how long have I been telling you? NXT has been putting out fucking bangers. They've been doing takeovers since like 2015, and I'm telling you,
there for a while it was an argued point on the show by many people that NXT was better than what we were seeing on the traditional roster.
It wasn't just an argued point. I would say it was a fact for years. I mean, those takeover events were just as hype or more hype 9 times out of 10 than the damn pay-per-view for the main roster. So, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If they don't acknowledge them as a third brand, I don't think it'll ever really matter as far as being the champion. And it sucks because it matters.
That kind of leads to the point of why I feel as though they shouldn't like make them lose, because that takes their luster for when they do go to the main roster. I feel like it would be better to just say, hey,
yeah, but then you also gotta look at it.
We're gonna pull you up. We made that phone call to the AAAs. We're bringing you up. Fuck that belt. Fuck that next match you had scheduled. We want you here. Yeah.
Well, to go with that though, here's the thing. That's why like it's a little different with wrestling as opposed to MMA, because you want to build up the next star when they go. So
but
that's like a time honored.
If you're talking, because I understand that point, and it's the same in MMA. You know, like when you see somebody on their last couple like retirement stretch, they usually put them against young killers to try to build a name off these people. It's the same type of deal, but it's just, if you're not gonna put any weight in the belt after the fact that they've moved up to the main roster anyway, then what does it matter about building somebody else off something that you're not going to put weight in the future anyway? If you get
dude, you're arguing the same fact that NXT fans have been getting mad about from the jump. And I mean, that takes us into another match that you could say the same thing. You know, we talked about now, one thing I will say that I thought was really cool. Now, all in all, I thought Halloween Havoc was a good show. I'm still maybe on the fence to see like how this whole thing with Toxic Attraction is going to play out, because Mandy Rose, it's no secret, was never really the best wrestler on the main roster, and then they brought her back to NXT. She's gotten better. Whether she is like at main event level yet, maybe not, but you can't not respect it, because she went from being like just the bombshell dime piece to where now you can't say she's not arguably main event talent, because now she's got the NXT title. Her faction now has the NXT women's title and the women's tag titles. So they hold all the gold that you can in NXT right now. Right. So, I mean, whether it's NXT or not, you have to take that for what it is. I just wish NXT would do a better job, or not NXT, but like when they go to the main roster, that it was more acknowledged of what they did on NXT, because there's so many guys and girls that come up there that were NXT champions and had bangers of matches, and they're not really talked about. And that brings us into the women's championship match. You had Raquel Gonzalez versus Mandy Rose in that match. I mean, we've talked about Raquel Gonzalez on the show before. I mean, dude, if you're talking about a badass female to build a division behind, like for like little girls to look at and be like, yo, that's dope, and you've got the Hispanic heritage with her too, bro, she is a certifiable badass. And they played her as such coming to the ring, because she rode out to the ring on this big ass black motorcycle, had the dope ass entrance. Like it was badass. And they had a good
woman
match.
that straddles a bike between her's got my heart.
I mean, look, bro, I'm just saying she is a bad one. And like I said, they had a hell of a match, and props to Mandy Rose, because Mandy Rose, for being like the bombshell like that, she went through the tables and shit. So it's not like they just babied her either. She won the match. But again, this goes to what raises my question. J-Bone, what do you think's going to happen? I wonder, does this mean that Raquel Gonzalez might be like the next one to go to the main roster or something? Or are we going to see her down there? But it opens the door for Dakota Kai, popped up in like a druid suit and smoked her with the shovel, which it's great storytelling, because she said, you'll always be champion as long as I have your back. And then she's the one that literally pretty much stabbed her in the back with the shovel, and now she is not champion. And so now I don't know if that means we're going to get Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai, but that is another thing that's going to be really interesting coming out of Halloween Havoc. And then we've also got new tag team champions. It was a night of new champions. Like literally almost all the titles changed hands. Like MSK, a fucking banger of a match between them and Imperium. And Imperium is now your new tag team champions. And then you got to the match that all of us, were kind of interested to see what they were going to do. You had Braun Breaker, the son of Rick Steiner, versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT title. Now, I honestly thought with the way they were building it up, out of all the titles that would have changed hands, I thought maybe this one might be it, but I'm glad it didn't, because it gives Braun Breaker more time to grow. But I got to give credit to Breaker, except for the part where he fell off the second rope, but shit happens. He really stepped up in a main event capacity against a guy like Ciampa, who, like J-Bone said, you watch takeovers, watch the 3 matches between Gargano and Ciampa. I was in the building for two out of the 3. Ring the motherfucking bell. They were 2 of the best matches I've ever been in the building for live. Like, that crowd was wild. And so for him to be able to deliver on a stage like that with a guy like Ciampa, it's a good stamp of approval for a guy like Braun Breaker, who is still so young in the business. The other thing I wanted to, obviously we had to get a little bit of AEW before I get out of here. They had that went down last night. We saw a banger, absolute banger between CM Punk and Bobby Fish. I'm loving seeing Bobby Fish as a single in AEW. I love seeing Bobby Fish as a single in AEW because as a tag team with Kyle O'Reilly as part of Red Dragon, and then as part of the Undisputed Era in NXT and WWE, like I don't think he ever really got to shine like that. And I think now people are getting to see what he can really do. And then putting him in there with a guy like CM Punk, I mean, that's only gonna raise his stock. But then again, that's a recurring theme of what we're talking about. There you have again 2 more Ring of Honor guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Ring of Honor is such a hotbed.
AEW does a great job of that too, where they plan on kind of showcasing somebody, and so they give them a match against one of their high-level signees, somebody that carries this massive hype train of CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, so on and so forth. They've done a really great job of matchmaking these people that they want to see have success in their company against these guys. And for the most part, from what I've heard from the outside, it seems like a lot of the matches have been successful as well. So,
I mean, and you had 2 veterans in there. This wasn't even one of those like what you said with a new guy. You have a new guy to the company, but you're just letting 2 guys be them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're letting 2 guys who are good get in there and be good. That's what you have with that. I thought you had a great match in that. That one, that was definitely something that popped out to me on that one. But
question,
go ahead.
While we're on the CM Punk topic, are you surprised he's been this active in his return? That's one thing that's kind of surprised me from the outside.
Active as in as far as he's been on TV, no, but really I don't think he's been super active in the match category yet, because he's only 4-0, and this match here on Dynamite was actually his first match on Dynamite.
Yeah, but if you're talking about somebody of his stature and being the fact that he's not new to wrestling, of course, by any means, but new to being back to wrestling, I thought that maybe it was going to be more of like the Brock Lesnar approach, where he was going to be on, 4 or 5 times this year. And it was going to
I agree with that, and that's been talked about too. Like, are they like oversaturating him? I mean, I don't
think that's the case. I feel like
no, I agree. I'm just trying to think in like, because in a way I could see where that would be. In some ways, I see where people can say that, and I can agree in some standpoints. But then on the other hand, being in the arena for that stuff, and the fact that when you watch it on TV, on the fact that when you watch it on TV, people are still like popping over, the CM, when CM Punk comes out. And, Bubba Dudley, talked about it today on Busted Open too. Like, dude, he's not even having to do like the big high spot moves. People are just so excited to see him. And I think that just speaks to how over CM Punk is as a whole. Now, I do think AEW needs to be careful about not like burning out too many good things at a point, which is why I think we haven't seen like him and Bryan Danielson against each other and things yet. So I still think that there's a lot of meat there. Plus, you've got CM Punk and Colt Cabana. I mean, I don't have to tell hardcore wrestling fans the history between Cabana and CM Punk, not only from Ring of Honor, but their issues outside of it. But I think all of that's been squashed at this point. So I'd love to see what they could do with that. J-Bone brings up a good point in the comment. Speaking of Ring of Honor, I want to see Danhausen on all shows. Very nice, very evil. Yes. I am with seeing Danhausen anywhere, everywhere, all of them, all around. Let's do it. Danhausen's actually from Michigan. So Danhausen, if you see this, it would be very nice if we could bring you on the show at some point. I am a big fan of what I've seen from him in Ring of Honor and outside of Ring of Honor. Who knows? Maybe we might see him on this GCW card that's coming up here in a couple weeks here in Detroit. That's going to be a big card with Allie Katch versus Chelsea Green. You got Matt Cardona's on that card. Nick Gage is going to be on that card. I mean, GCW coming out with the banger here in the Detroit area. And one other thing that I got to talk about, and I can't not talk about when we're talking about AEW, I'll post a picture on our social medias, which you can see down there at KO3C Pod. You can follow me at Detroit Knockout. You'll see what I'm dressed up as for Cheapy Creepy tomorrow. Maybe you'll see me in J-Bone. You'll definitely see me in J-Bone. But you might think that I might look like Darby Allin. But hey, if you're a fan of Darby Allin, you can check out our chat with Darby Allin too. But yeah, so Darby Allin and MJF, I think AEW had the future of their company in the ring all in one. See, Jam Master J Bone, and we can call it Skeletor. You call it Mr. Skeleton. Tyler, you're gonna be out there in the Grumpy Bear onesie. Hot damn it, we need to have some pictures in here. Yeah, Cheapy Creepy is gonna be a good time. But Darby Allin, man, is quickly emerging to be one of the top baby faces they got in that company. I mean, that kid gives no fucks. Gives no fucks. And I say that kid, he's around the same age as me, so he's not a kid. But I'm just saying that guy will go balls out. You know what I mean? Like, that guy does not care.
He's a full committer. Anybody from somebody who has dabbled their toe and risked their ACL, PCL, and MCL to try skateboarding again in their mid-20s. Somebody who is a professional skateboarder and has the level of commitment that Darby Allin has showed in the wrestling ring, in his matches and out of them, in his skateboarding videos and even in his promo videos in general, he's a crazy motherfucker. That's about the best way to describe it.
Can't say he's faking nothing.
Wild man. No, he's a fucking wild man. And it's genuinely impressive the things he's able to perform with his body and his movement and his ability to take these bumps, as you might want to call them, and just kind of roll with the punches and keep going. He's done a really great job from everything I've seen of him. I may not be a fan of a lot of wrestlers nowadays, but I am a fan of his.
Well, let's talk about what he had going on, because you had MJF come out there, dude, and he was on fire. And man, if it wasn't for the fact for Barricades, I think that MJF might be the guy that could completely start a riot in Boston when this guy's out here saying stuff on the mic like Boston talking about, this is what I think of your mother's harder, MJF, harder. As he's talking to the Boston fans, he goes, this is what I think when I think of your mother. Like, this guy does not, they must give this guy a mic and just say, there's a few parameters, but get as close as you can, because he don't give a damn. And then the lights went out.
He does a great job at towing the line. That's for sure. I personally might find some of it a little cringy, because I find when most people play characters, it comes off as cringy. But
I don't think it's a character a lot of times with that guy, though, because I'm telling you from being in the scrums, like, I watched him punk one of the reporters in there, dude. Like, this dude, he lives the gimmick.
That's what I was gonna say, is he definitely lives it. I'm not saying it's a gimmick in the fact of like he just plays a character and then immediately flips the switch off. It's like a very exaggerated version of parts of himself, I feel like, would be the best way to describe that.
Well, right. And that was what was so crazy about this. So he's going ham in the ring, and then fakes like Sting's music's going to go on. So the lights go out, Sting's music starts playing, and then you realize it was MJF just pulling a fast one. Well, then the lights go out again, and the video comes up on the screen. And now it's time to hurt you physically comes up on the screen, and you see Darby run out on stage at a concert with all these people, and this dude's got this MJF mask on. He runs out and does a flying drop kick and just drop kicks this dude in the face on the stage at a concert, and just comes running out of the back, whack, kicks dude in the face. And then when the lights come back on, Sting is in the ring with the bat, and then MJF scurries out the side, and when he scurries out the side in a trench coat, there is Darby Allin. And Darby Allin gets on the mic and says MJF Full Gear. So now it's going to be MJF versus Darby Allin at Full Gear. And ironically, hey, I interviewed Darby Allin the last time I was at Full Gear. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I mean, he didn't like what I had to ask him too much. He told Evolve to go fuck themselves, but he didn't tell me to go fuck myself. So, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff for you to check out. Holy shit. Speaking of getting to do those scrums, what a match for the TNT title. You had major implications for what's going to happen with American Top Team in this match. If Sammy Guevara, wow, let me try that again. If Sammy Guevara lost the match, he had to leave the Inner Circle. But if he wins that match, he now gets to pick who from American Top Team is going to be in that 5-on-5 match that's going to go down at Full Gear. And so they had, again, this is just another example of some of the young talent they have. I think, and I've said this multiple times on this show, I think Sammy Guevara is going to be one of the young stars for AEW for a long time. He's got the bravado. He's got the charisma. He's got the crazy athletic moves. Mm-hmm. Sammy Guevara is going to be a big winner for them for a long time. And I think having the TNT championship on a guy like that, I think is going to be dope. I mean, like I said, it
does nothing but good things for a guy like that in his stage in his career. It really does.
And he's putting out banger of a matches, and it furthers the story with the ATT stuff. Now, I'm interested to see who we see in there. I hope we see JDS back in the ring at Full Gear. I'm assuming we're going to see JDS. I don't know who all it'll be. So that would make JDS, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page. So they would have to fill out 2 more guys. So, I mean, hell, you know, you got Usman and, well, no, you can't do that because it's too close to his fight. But I said, hell, what if we see old Colby Covington get back in the ring again? Dan Lambert pulling one out of his ass, or maybe we see Dan Lambert get in there. I don't know what we can see out of that one, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens when ATT and the Inner Circle collide at Full Gear.
That's for sure. It's going to be an interesting night. There's no denying that.
I just want to see if, like I said, I was very impressed by what I saw by JDS. So if JDS is going to get in there again, I'm all for it. And I've said it multiple times on this show. I think that Paige Van Zant also has a future in pro wrestling. So I would not be mad at seeing her in there because, look, say what you want. I'm not mad at seeing Paige Van Zant on my screen. Before I finish my last thought about AEW, I forgot about this. On Halloween, shout out to the homie, Tara motherfucking LaRosa. She's one of the best female flyweights of all time. She's returning to action at Submission Underground. Halloween. Watch that shit. Tara LaRosa, she's fought one Shayna Baszler. Hey, maybe you heard about her in the WWE. They fought multiple times, fought for the Bodog title. Like I said, she's widely considered one of the pioneers for females at 125. So I'm definitely excited to see the homie stepping back there on the mat.
If you're bringing up that Submission Underground card, there may be a athlete who just got suspended for Adderall competing on that event as well. So I've seen
there's a lot to look at Submission Underground.
Yeah. There's news that Kevin Lee's, I forget who he's fighting or grappling against for Submission Underground, but
hey, I'm all for it
nonetheless.
I'm all for it. It'll be interesting if nothing else. But you know, the last thing that I got to talk about when it comes to AEW from the other night that was very interesting, and it's been the one thing that I've kind of we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday, but the fans have really been shitting on Cody Rhodes for a little while. I don't really understand where a lot of the heat comes from. I get it in a way because maybe they feel like he's been kind of shoved down their throat in a way, but I think what they did on Wednesday was very good. He came out there and was just straight out and was like, look, man, you know, you guys want to be mad at all these things. He's like, look, man, if you want to be honest, he was like, he goes, you want to hate on me for all these things, but walk a mile in my shoes before you do so. And he threw his shoes out to the crowd. He goes, let's talk about it. He's like, I got an older brother who, if we're being honest, is Hall of Fame caliber talent. And is better than maybe I might ever be. That's a fact. I got a wife that's more beautiful than beyond my grade. I got a daughter that I barely deserve. I got a company that, I've tried to bust my ass to help build and all these things. And there were all things that couldn't be denied. So, he comes out there and he's saying all these things and he says, my focus wasn't where it really needed to be. And he's talking to Arn Anderson, and then the lights go out. Well, when the lights go out and they come back on, Andrade is back at the top of the ramp, and he's saying how nobody cares, and he says how he's going to make Cody his little bitch. And then they come out and there's all that, and they're going back and forth. Well, then the lights go out again, and Malachi Black is in the ring. He spits the mist out at Cody, and him and Andrade start putting the boots to Arn and Cody, to which then Pac, who they just had that banger between Andrade and Pac, and Pac comes out to make the save. I don't know if that means we're going to get a tag team match between the four of them at Full Gear, which the four of them, that sounds like a banger of a match to me. But I'm definitely interested to see what we're going to get out of Full Gear, because then you also got to remember at Full Gear, you're going to get the final of the AEW World Title Tournament, which has been shaping up pretty good. In the semifinals, you got Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. They're going to beat the shit out of each other. That's going down this Wednesday on Dynamite. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with that. And I don't know, man, I'm looking forward to Halloween. I'm looking forward to eating some candy. I'm looking forward to being out and having some good times and all that good stuff. Again, shout out to Mega Ran. If you guys are out in Detroit and checking out UMACon or any of that good stuff, make sure you check out Mega Ran and MC Lars and MC Front a Lot and Schaefer the Dark Lord out here in Detroit. They're out there in Cleveland tonight. They're headed back here to Detroit tomorrow. I don't know, Corey. I'm ready for Halloween, and if I don't talk to you before then, happy birthday, motherfucker.
Appreciate it, man. Greatly appreciated. And I hope you guys, you and J-Bone both have a great time at your said Halloween party. Hopefully things get just the right amount of wild out there in Pontiac, because sometimes things can get a little bit crazy.
I don't need too wild. I mean, I'm still down for good times, but like too wild, I might be starting to cross that threshold of like too old for the bullshit. But not all the way over that bullshit hill. I feel like the bullshit hill is 30. Like, see, I'm right at the tip of that bullshit hill, but I just hit the tip of that bullshit hill. So I got about another year of that bullshit hill before it starts to tip over. He said, no chicks. Hey, you're the one that, hold on a minute. When we went to DTE, that was your fault. That chick had a hatchet and she was trying to push people into the mosh pit. And I kind of like secretly hoped that she was going to get drop kicked for it. But that was your fault. That was not my fault. The last time I went to one of these parties, I just ended up dancing with Tyler. So Tyler, we definitely need to have a good time. It's been a long time. And I'm going to hang out with Uncle Chase, damn it. I don't want chicks with hatchets.
It's a Halloween party, man. They might be a lot of plastic knife. Cutlery? Isn't that the proper word for the vast assortments of knives that you may see?
Well, I'm just saying my part of the weed doesn't need to be getting shanked. Because I already kind of got shanked this week for no reason anyway, so I'm not trying to get shanked by the plastic kind too. So it's been a good week for your boy. Like I said, thank you for checking out another episode of Knockouts and Three Counts. Like I said, make sure you follow all the social medias. You can see what kind of shit me and J-Bone end up getting into for Halloween. Be sure to, you know what? God damn it, I'm saying it right now. Any of you guys who watch this in the post, I want to know, what are you dressing up for as Halloween? Comment in the comments or tweet us at KO3C Pod. I want to know what are people dressing up as, and if you got anything to say about the fights and anything in between, let us know. Shout out to Ethan for coming on with us today. It was good to go down memory lane and do me a favor, and I guess this really goes for anybody. So, I mean, this is a good way as any to stop it. Don't throw lawnmowers on Halloween, people. I'm just saying, don't throw lawnmowers on Halloween. I got a feeling that if it goes through somebody's window, even if you have the best explanation in the world, the cops still might not let you go home that night. So if you're watching this and going out for Halloween, if they give you a lawnmower that doesn't work, don't throw it through their window. Everybody be safe. Watch out for the bad candy and eat all that shit. Peace. Damn, come on.